Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this line turned hut. I'll split the video into 3 parts because otherwise it might be quite long. So part 1 will be today, and I imagine part 2 and 3 will be next week and the week after, if I can get them out by then. It might be later, I don't know. I'm working from plans that I've drawn up from the real thing at Mellis Junction. But obviously, you don't have to work from plans. You know, that it just makes it a bit easier because you know what you're doing and you know it's all going to fit together properly. So we're ready to begin. The first step for making this permanent way hut is to cut out each shape for the 4 walls. In this case, it's quite a simple structure. Sometimes when you build things, you know, you have 10 walls and you have to take it a bit slower, but because there's only 4 walls, it's quite easy just to cut them all individually first. So we begin with these ones, and here's one I made earlier, just for the first bit. You've noticed I've had to stick a bit of extra on there because it was a bit short, and that's just cut to the same size as that, and that's just cut out of the pizza box card. So now I'm going to cut the other one out of this card. And the best way I'd find to do this, once you've got the template, which is going to be the same size as the other end, just put it down on there and just mark around the edges. It doesn't have to be that accurate because you'll cover this all up eventually. So there we have that marked. Now with the scissors, I prefer to use scissors for this bit because it's a bit quicker. Just make sure you cut slightly inside the lines because they're going to be a bit big when you mark it out like this. There we go. There we have the next part. And just line them up, make sure they fit, which they do. So now we have 2 chunks, 2 walls, sorry. And they fit like that and like that. Now, the next stage is to do these walls. This, obviously I have to measure it from the plan because I don't already have a template, so I just take the ruler. So it's 21 millimeters. I always measure twice, and the 21 millimeters high and 40 millimeters wide. So I get my card. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any straight edges, so I'm going to have to create my own. This ruler has a right angle, which is quite useful when trying to create straight edges. So 40. So I draw a line at the bottom 40 millimeters long, and then measure again just to check. 21. Sorry, you can't see that. There we go. It's all done so far. Then join them up at the top to create a rectangle. Now, I'm just going to cut it out. knocking over the glue in the process. So there we go, there's one of the side walls. So as you can see, it's slightly, they don't quite fit up, so some modifications may have to be made. This often happens and you just have to work with it. So that piece that I just made was a bit too small, so I've made a new one. And this one actually fits. For some reason it wasn't quite lined up properly. So that now they fit, and that's going to go like that. It's hard to imagine it in the moment, but hopefully it will come together. And that's this one here, fits that side. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the two walls. I'm going to lay this over, draw out a template. And then cut that out. And then just like that, all four walls are done. There's the next wall. Just check it lines up with the other one. There we go. There we go. So, hang on, I'll just put them. So we have that wall there, that wall there, wall there, that wall there. So the next job is to do the windows and the door. So the door is on the north side of the permanent way hut, and there's only one door, and so it's coming in this panel. I've chosen this panel over that one because that one has a little modification on the bottom, which might make it quite difficult to cut out a door. So that's going to go on the other side. So to mark out where the door's going to go on the plan, I lay it over and just mark where the bottom of the door is, like that. And then using a ruler, measure the height of the door, about 20 millimeters. Mark that on here. So you see I've marked the door on there, and then I'm just going to top it off, a bit of a curve on the top. There we go, there we have the door, and I'm just going to cut it out. This is where the knife might come in handy, because it's quite difficult to cut that top bit. So I just use that. Just score it and cut it. It may take several cuts. Ideally don't do it on plans. So the door is now cut out, and when making a door it's important to make sure that the proportions are correct, obviously. So just get a small scale figure and just make sure that they fit in the door, which he does. I mean, often they were quite low anyway, so he might have to stoop a bit to get through that door, but that is about the right scale, so that's good, he fits. So now the windows for this section need to be cut out. As you can see, there's two windows. So the way I do this, get the ruler, measure the height of the windows. They're about 9mm off the ground, and 6mm away from the sides. And then mark 6mm anywhere on here, and then 9mm off the ground, which is there actually. Okay, that should be correct. Yeah, that's the bottom of the windows. And then the height of the window, 10mm. The width of the window, 7mm. That's small, 7.5 actually. And then mark there the window. There's one window marked. Now I'm just going to mark the other one. So now the windows are cut out. Not cut out, sorry. Drawn. Now I've got to cut them out. And I'm going to use a knife for that. Just following the lines, because obviously it's a lot harder to get in there with some scissors. You could do it, but you would have to stab it first in some way to cut through. Now both windows are cut out, and the actual windows themselves need to go in. For this, I'm just using any old clear plastic glass. Some lying around here. Here you go. And that's just from packaging, food packaging, anything like that. Cut from just them out. Cut from this old food packaging. So obviously it's very easy to get, and it's quite effective. So I'm just going to cut this out roughly so it fits behind both windows like that. And then I'm going to do the window frames. So the first thing I'm going to do is just roughly cut that. It doesn't have to be neat at all unless you're doing an interior. And you just glue that behind. Using the same glue. If you have a good PVA, it will attach plastic to card. Probably not plastic to plastic, but certainly plastic to card, it will work. Just try not to get any glue on the actual plastic where you can see. You obviously will get a bit on when you put the frames in, but as long as you try and reduce it. It's just glued on. Like I said earlier, for the window frames, I'm using a piece of plastic that's almost as thin as you can cut it, because obviously window frames are very thin when you scale them down 76 times. And I'm just going to cut it so we have this fairly standard window So I just line it up. Just cut it there. And for the other one, I do the same. Like I said earlier, you can use card for the window frames if you wish to. It's just not as easy to get that precision cut. You have to have very thin card. So I've just put them in, and I'm now going to glue them with plastic glue. Get this to work. It's just a little plastic glue that you can get. You don't have to use this, but it does help. Just a few drops. Then make sure it's pushed down so it attaches to, that one isn't, to the glass. And then we've still got this, so there's a tiny offcut left with that. Sometimes you might have to use a knife to just realign it, because it is very tricky. Now I'm just going to cut that along there, keeping that other upwards piece in line. Bit of glue just to secure that in place. This is when the smaller knife might be useful, just to push it around a bit, or you could use a pair of tweezers or anything fine. Right, windows are done now. That's all the windows on this building as far as I can tell from the photos. Sometimes when I'm building bigger buildings, I put the brick texture on whilst it's still in its individual parts. But because it's a small building and there's less detail to fit in, I prefer to do it all in one go after I've constructed all the parts together. So assembly of the parts is fairly simple, using the same glue. This tacky PVA. I'll move it all this way so you can see a bit better. So I just bit of glue on the corner, and then butt the two together. Whilst that's drying, I've just painted, or not painted, I've used an old whiteboard pen to colour the inside of that wall, because that is going to go along there, and it had some quite bright coloured packaging logos on it, and obviously you don't want to see that when you look through the windows. It doesn't really matter on that wall because you're not going to see it. There'll be a door in that bit, so you can't see through there. The only bit you are going to see is that wall, so it's important to cover that. I mean, obviously if you're going to put more windows in, you might want to consider the whole of the inside. And this is probably dry enough now that I can stick the next bit on. I've left it for about 5 minutes, but obviously it depends on the heat drawing. You can tell, you know, by moving it around a bit and hope it doesn't fall apart. It's quite holds itself together quite nicely once it's assembled. That is the north side, so that faces towards the station building, and that is the south side, so that faces towards London. You'll see where it goes when I put it on the layout. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the first part. Like I said earlier, parts 2 and 3 will be out soon. In the meantime, on the 19th of July, there is a virtual model railway exhibition on the Model Rail Network YouTube channel. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. It's got, I think it's 10 till 4 perhaps, and there's layouts. Yeah, there's lots of different layouts, including my other layout. So yeah, it's definitely worth going to check that out. You can just tune in, watch a few and then go. Yeah, apparently there's some very good layouts on there, so definitely worth a watch. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.